India is not Bangalore. Yes, we all know that. But do the Indian VC and startup communities know it? India has over 150,000 startups, yet when it comes to solving real problems for real people, most of the money flows into just a few zip codes. The VCs concentrated in Indiranagar alone are not helping either. But why is that, and why does it matter? Is India building for Bangalore or for India? Let's unearth that in this episode of Point Break. At the recent Process Luminate event, Indian entrepreneurs Mukesh Bansal and Kunal Shah spotlighted the startup ecosystem and VC's overwhelming focus on funding Tier 1 cities. Over 80% of venture capital in India flows into just three metros: Bengaluru, Delhi NCR, and Mumbai. Bengaluru alone consistently attracts 35 to 40% of all VC funding. Now compare that to Tier 2 and 3 cities. Together, they receive less than 10% of VC investment. But why is that? I'll get to it right after a quick roundup of everything making waves in the world of AI. Just days before WWDC, Apple has dropped a research paper that throws shade at the entire AI industry. Apple claims that today's top AI reasoning models like OpenAI's O3, Claude 3.7 Sonnet, DeepSeek R1, and Gemini thinking fall apart when faced with real complexity. Their accuracy eventually collapses to zero. The paper, The Illusion of Thinking, argues that these models don't actually solve problems, they just simulate it, and only up to a point. Apple even questioned the industry's current benchmarks, introducing its own controllable puzzle environments to stress test AI thinking. But why now? With Apple's AI efforts under scrutiny and WWDC just around the corner, the message is clear. Apple's not buying the AGI hype yet. While others chase flashy AI tools, Genpact is quietly building muscle where it matters: domain expertise. Genpact has acquired Exponent-L Data, a Databricks partner known for deep industry-specific AI solutions, especially in healthcare and life sciences. With strong capabilities across AWS and Microsoft, Exponent-L adds serious firepower to Genpact's data-driven shift. This follows earlier buys like Enquero and Rightpoint, marking Genpact's steady pivot from traditional BPO to AI-led transformation. The real story? This isn't about stacking tools. It's about owning the stack: smarter platforms, deeper delivery, and AI that actually works in the real world. OpenAI has partnered with the government's India AI mission to launch the OpenAI Academy, its first international rollout offering AI training in English, Hindi, and 4 regional languages via the Future Skills portal. Why India? It's OpenAI's largest user base and now home to 34,000 GPUs priced under $1 per hour, removing a key barrier to AI development. From students to civil servants, this move signals one thing: OpenAI is betting big on India to power the next wave of AI talent. While India embraces the AI wave with a prowess matching global adoption, the country has become a hotbed of innovation, fostering startups like never before. However, the discussion about why the majority of these startups are concentrated only in Tier 1 cities continues. Let's break it down.
We are so obsessed with Bangalore and tech culture and investor culture and entrepreneur culture. We live in a bubble. I would really request that investors पूरे इंडिया के कोने-कोने में आप असम में जाइए, बिहार में जाइए, and people are investing and there is a huge market. And I did it later. Like now I'm roaming around different parts of the country. But if you really need to build in India, then move out of Bangalore and roam around. That would be my input. What do you have to say, Kunal? Or the Indranagar?
If the traffic allows, I'll move around.
India is now home to over 1.25 lakh DPIIT recognized startups as of 2024. Interestingly, while Tier 2 and 3 cities account for 45% of them, a majority 55% are still concentrated in Tier 1 hubs like Bengaluru, Delhi NCR, Mumbai, Chennai, Pune, Hyderabad, Ahmedabad, and Kolkata. The dominance of tier 1 cities in India's startup ecosystem comes down to 5 key factors: easy access to capital, a large pool of skilled talent, robust urban infrastructure, strong ecosystem support, and a ready customer base. Cities like Bengaluru and Mumbai offer everything from VCs to co-working spaces, making them natural magnets for startup growth. However, there is an increasing shift towards building in tier 2, 3 cities with decentralization initiatives. In Karnataka alone, there are 4 clusters outside Bengaluru that are poised to attract tech, talent, and capital.
We have a mission of Beyond Bangalore. And we say this very proudly because we believe that the decentralization of economic growth should happen. And every part of the state should be benefiting from the economic growth, which creates more employment, which creates more investments and research. Having said this, how we can do this? So what we said, let's divide the state into outside Bangalore in 6 important clusters. So we divided 6 clusters. So one is the Mysuru cluster, Bengaluru cluster, Hubli, Belgaum, Dharwad cluster, Kalburgi cluster, Tumkur cluster, and Shimoga cluster. So these are 6 clusters. We started with the 3 clusters in the beginning, almost 3 years back, which is Mysuru, Bengaluru, and Hubli, Belgaum, Dharwad. The 4th cluster is a Kalburgi. And the next cluster will be Tumkur. The next cluster will be Shimoga. So we cover entire state. It's not about we picked up, it's a cluster. And then the region, we find out their strengths, their capabilities, the talent which is available there, the industry ecosystem there. And then we start putting up a vision and a strategy document to say, how do we enhance this to the next level?
But the reality of funding and growth in lower tiered cities is different. And if it is in deep tech, the struggles are of a different kind. Out of the total startups in India, only a meager 2.6% of them are in deep tech. That's shocking because India has some of the best engineering talent in the world. 1 in 4 AI engineers globally is based in India. But the question is, where is the ecosystem?
Something like 1/4 of all AI engineers and all chip designers in the world are based in India. I just spent time with the company, started last year. They're building a chip competing with NVIDIA. And first 5 minutes I was very skeptical. But then I realized that these guys among themselves, the founding team has spent 100 combined years at Intel, at AMD, building all the chips that the world knows. So these guys have the know-how and talent. The question for the country is, where is the ecosystem? Because deep tech is very different than things most of us have done in the past. It requires much longer incubation cycle. It requires access to market. It requires some protection and a lot of patient capital. All of those, I think, as you're pointing out, I think countries just waking up now, from government to private investors to deep tech fund to entrepreneurs. Everyone is paying attention, but we'll have to be patient and we have to make sure we are nurturing this ecosystem for next 5-10 years for us to start to be competitive on the global landscape. So it's going to be a journey, not at all going to be an easy journey.
Deep tech isn't about fast scaling. It's about longer incubation cycles, patient capital, and market access. But the venture model is still stuck in 10-year cycles, looking for early exits, not long-term bets. In fact, founders in small cities working on healthcare, vernacular tech, agriculture, or deep infrastructure often struggle to get funded, even if they're solving the problems that actually matter for India. Deep tech founders often don't survive beyond Series A because they have no anchor customer. Unlike SaaS, where speed matters, deep tech needs committed procurement and patient buyers, especially from government and public institutions. And if you're building outside Bangalore, the odds are even lower. You're isolated from capital networks, mentors, and large customers. You're playing the game on hard mode.
As much as US is over-investing there, I think India lacks investment capacity in AI. I think Latin America lacks investment capacity, but Prosus has the size of a big tech and we are here to support local players. So if there is an amazing local player here that requires $1 billion, you put $1 billion. If you require $2 or $3 billion, you put $2 or $3 billion. But we can start doing an early stage investment of $5 million. So this flexibility that exists in US, I think we bring to India, and this is very, very powerful.
We love to talk about India as the world's youngest startup nation. But if we keep funding the same few neighborhoods, the rest of India will never get a seat at the table. India is not Bangalore. It's Nagpur, Bhopal, Coimbatore, Ranchi, so on and so forth. And if we keep ignoring those cities, we'll miss the most strategic opportunity of our time, building an innovation economy that's truly for India, by India. Because deep tech won't thrive in a bubble, and Bharat won't grow unless we break out of it. That's all we have on this episode of Point Break. I'll be back with more such insights from Bharat. Until then, stay sharp, stay curious, and think AI, think AIF.